Welcome to the Sound Like Us podcast, where we get the bedroom rock stars out of the bedroom, out into the world to hopefully get them the recognition they deserve. During the interview, we get to know an artist by asking them about how important music is to them, from how their early life shaped the musician they became, to live music, to their first foray into writing and producing music, and what they have planned for the future. Please like, follow, share and subscribe in all the usual places, so Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Instagram, YouTube, etc. A big thank you to everyone that has done so already. Please spread the word far and wide to your friends, family and even that annoying prick you sit next to at work. If you like the podcast, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform that you use, as this helps give the algorithm a big old slap in the chops and gets these musicians even more of the exposure they deserve. If you're a musician, singer-songwriter, rapper, producer, DJ, MC, or even, God forbid, a drummer, and you fancy joining me on the podcast, please don't hesitate to get in touch and we will get you on. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Welcome to the Sound Like Us podcast and to today's guest, New Jersey-born, Nashville-based singer-songwriter Sahara Moon. Sahara, good afternoon, or in your case, probably good morning, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Martin. Happy to be here today.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have you on as well. We need something cool because it is roasting hot over here and I'm sweating. Right, let's start by having you telling us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a singer-songwriter and artist from Nashville, Tennessee in the US, originally from the coast of New Jersey. So I create uptown Americana music. It's a blend of jazz and folk, kind of in the realm of like Norah Jones, Madison Cunningham, maybe a little bit of Jewel. So that's what I do. I started in 16 on the side of a street playing in my coastal town. In front of an art gallery, and that just kind of kept snowballing into doing numerous different shows over the years. And yeah.
So what town are you from in New Jersey?
I'm from an area called Long Beach Island.
Right, okay.
So
is that near Atlantic City, kind of?
I am like 35 minutes north of Atlantic City.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never been to that part of America, but
Okay.
I'm quite a big Springsteen fan, so I've kind of read a little bit about it.
Yeah. So Springsteen, he is an hour north of me. So I'm kind of in the middle of Atlantic City and where Bruce Springsteen was from.
Okay. So he's in Colts Neck, I think, isn't it? Something like that.
Yes, yep.
So how did the music your parents listened to influence you while growing up?
Yeah, my parents, my first concert I think I ever went to was like a Rusted Root concert when I was very young. And growing up, I feel like my family had a wide range of like different musical tastes. I feel like though there was always like a jam band kind of going on in the background. Like my family was fans of the Grateful Dead and Bob Dylan and just different artists like that, bands that had like an acoustic electric vibe, but very like soulful and jam band oriented.
Were they performers themselves? Did that influence you performing? Or?
No, actually my parents, my dad like jams for fun. He loves playing guitar. My mom loves to sing, but they don't do it professionally. So yeah, actually the first time that I like performed for an open mic, my mom like ended up writing my name on the open mic sign up list. And she called me up and was like, "Oh, I put your name on the list. Like you got to get down here and sing."
So she kind of pushed you into it a little bit.
Just a little. Yeah. It was cool though, like it kind of like got me out of my comfort zone a little bit. And ever since that moment, I feel like I really became intrigued with the performance.
Yeah, maybe I should do that with my kids whenever they see like an open mic thing. Just go over there, you start performing. They're only nearly 4 years old at the moment, but once they could do like a little duo.
That's awesome.
So can you share how your background growing up in New Jersey, how that helped to shape you as an artist?
Yeah, absolutely. So my family has always like loved music, and I grew up in a musical family, and my dad would play guitar for fun, and my mom would sing, and I have a sister, Sahara Moon, who's also another singer-songwriter, and she kind of She really was the one to like inspire me to become more involved with music. Because when I was in high school, my sister had already done like a whole bunch of musical theater, like plays and things like that. So she encouraged me to audition for a musical theater, which I did. And at that time, I was pretty shy. I would maybe like write my own songs and never share any ounce of the song with anyone. But I did my first play, and that was what really like inspired me. Like, and it opened up like this whole new realm of performance that I was like, whoa, like this is really cool. Like, getting to sing songs and put on performances and things like that. So I feel like growing up, there's always been some level of, musical influence, whether it was my parents or my sister, because everyone that I was surrounding myself with in my family just loved music and having it around.
Always helps, doesn't it? Um,
Yeah.
so it's also an area that's rich with musical history. Obviously, we mentioned the Boss just now. You've got Frank
Yeah.
Sinatra, Debbie Harry. Did growing up
Yeah.
with that history sort of surrounding you, did that inspire you to do music as well?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like I'm a little bit of an old soul when it comes to everything. And Frank Sinatra, like I would go to my grandma's house and she would always have the radio playing and they would always play like those classic songs. So I feel like that was, I love that kind of music as well.
Yeah, I mean, Frank Sinatra, what more can you say?
Yeah, you
Um,
can't beat them.
no, you should try. So tell us more about your collaboration with Alex Baker on your version of Coldplay's Clocks.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, my friend Alex and I met a handful of years ago at one of my shows that I was doing in New Jersey, and kind of we've remained friends. And my friend Alex, he started developing his own songs and sounds for EDM music. And he approached me and was like, "Oh, we should collaborate on a song." We thought about like which songs would be fun to cover, so we figured let's try "Clocks" by Coldplay. So essentially, we just, he kind of created like a draft of a track that he had in mind. I laid out all of the vocal and recorded all of that, and we kind of remotely collaborated. Yeah, he got that song was backed by a label out of France who specializes in EDM style music, but it completely was an experiment, and it's one of the songs that has literally resonated with so many, I feel like.
It's gone
You
crazy. I
know?
mean, 26 million
Yeah.
listens on Spotify. But as soon as I heard it, I thought,
Yeah.
I've heard that before. I've definitely heard that before. Probably walking into the
Well,
store somewhere, or there might have been on
yeah,
a commercial or something. It's like, I've definitely heard it before.
that's awesome.
Has it been like
Yeah, I feel like
sorry, I was going to say, has it been like a popularity boost for you a little bit?
yeah. Yeah, I feel like that song has given me like a little bit more exposure than my other songs. It completely was an experiment. Like we didn't know. We just got together for fun and figured it would be a cool project to try out. Because I don't do EDM music every day. I'm more in the singer-songwriter realm of things, but it was just a really cool experience, and I'm really grateful to have seen it resonate with so many people, and it really took off, and wasn't expecting that at all.
No,
I'm happy
absolutely
it
flying.
did. Uh, it was also on like Sirius XM, their like
Mm,
chill radio station and things like
yeah.
that.
That's great. Is there a specific piece of music that transports you to another time or place? Maybe something that brings back like vivid memories, emotions?
Yeah, I feel like for me, I would say Norah Jones. I feel like she's one of my all-time favorite artists and voices out there. I feel like there's certain songs of hers that I'll listen to and they're almost like timeless, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like they just make me feel so at home and like at peace and things like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
She had that kind of feel when she released her debut album. As soon as it came out, you thought it feels like this has been around for years, but
Yeah.
because of that timeless sort of feel. You don't hear much from her now.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like she goes on tours occasionally. I I feel like over the years she's become a little bit more like experimental in some of her projects. So I don't know. Yeah, I think she did just release like an album. I think it's called Running, maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago. But I feel like over the years she's explored different,
Different kind of avenues.
sounds and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously you mentioned Norah Jones, but who would you say other than her would be your main influences?
Other than her, the Tedeschi Trucks Band, Susan Tedeschi, really love they're such an incredible community of people. One thing that I really like about their band is I feel like they incorporate everybody's talents in the performance. Like they shine a light on every person in the band, which is really
Yeah.
really awesome that
Yeah.
they do.
But I was just listening to Midnight in Harlem just now. Um, his guitar playing, wow, it's just the way it just fits with her voice as well.
Yeah, I know. I've gotten to see them live a few times and they're every time just blow you away. I actually got to do a tour with their keyboardist,
Really?
Gabe
Wow.
Dixon.
Okay.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Right.
If you ever get the chance to see him, he's really cool.
Definitely.
So,
Well, I need to keep an eye out for Gabe Dixon, definitely. Right, this is a bit of a
yeah.
random question. I didn't send you this question
Okay.
because I like to sort of fuck in a curveball. If you could take anyone to any concert in history to see any artist, who would you take to that concert? What concert would it be, and why would you take them to that concert?
That is a good question. It's making me think for a second. I'm trying to think. I would probably say that I feel like there's a few people that I would take to different concerts, but it would be cool to take my Aunt Seal, who unfortunately is no longer with us, to an Elvis concert. She loved Elvis. So I feel like that would be cool.
That would be
But
cool.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, my mom would love to take to a concert. I feel like she's gotten to see a lot of live shows
yeah,
over the years, but my aunt it would be cool to take her to like an Elvis concert or something.
yeah, yeah. Elvis would be cool no matter what concert you
Yeah.
see him. So,
Yeah.
what was the first piece of music that you ever wrote?
The first piece of music I ever wrote, that I feel like I thought was a good song. I guess it's like technically was a good song, but it was called Midnight. I think I wrote it like back in 2014 or maybe 2013 or something.
No.
Yeah. I have like a collection of songs that are from that era of time,
Yeah,
that were like my first batch of songs. Some of them I still perform, like only a couple, but some of them
pretty
have
calm.
like this really, yeah, it was like before I was thinking about music all the time, like when
Mm.
like just like in the very beginning when I didn't have much pressure or anything like that
Yeah,
from the industry or anything like that. I just kind of like enjoyed it completely and wanted to express my feelings. So some of them have like that special quality still that I like to occasionally like throw into my set
and
list even
occasionally
today.
like to dig them out. I always think back to the first songs that I
Yeah.
wrote. I don't want to ever see them or hear them ever again. So bad,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
bad.
I know, it's funny how like songs they transform over the years.
Yeah,
Some get better, some just kinda remain what they were in that moment,
yes.
but
Some of them kind of take wings and they fly and become something different from what you originally wrote,
yeah,
kind of thing. Can you remember how it felt to create
yeah.
something original for the first time?
I think it felt good, relieving in some way
Mm,
to allow myself to become vulnerable, and then also, like, share that with the public, like,
yeah.
audiences or whatever. Like, I feel like that gave me some sense of confidence. During that time, I was, like, going to high school and everything, so I feel like now that I look back, it made me, like, strong in, like, who I was and
Mm,
things like that.
yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like overall it was nice to have a outlet to
Yeah.
express my feelings and things like that.
Yeah, I think most artists have felt a similar kind of thing that it gives them a voice that they didn't
Yeah.
previously think they'd had.
Yep.
So, how did you come to
Yeah.
move to Nashville then?
Yeah, I moved to Nashville. When did I moved there after COVID-19, the pandemic, and that was 2021 when I decided that I was going to move to Nashville. The reason that I moved there was pretty much because I feel like I had I love being home and I love being around family and all of that.
Yeah.
But on a personal level, like there was just more that I wanted to be accomplishing. I wanted to like push myself more and become a little bit more, immersed in the music industry. I was working with a producer, Dave Klaus, who worked on some of my previous recordings that are available on
Yeah.
streaming. And he kind of encouraged me. He's like, you should consider moving to like a music city, whether that's like Nashville or LA. I was like, all right, well, LA is a little too far for me because it's all the way across the country.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be hard to get home if I ever needed to. So I was like, all right, Nashville's kind of, in the middle of the US. So I can make that work, I guess. So I
Yeah.
pretty much made my decision to venture out there, and I didn't know what it was going to be like. It was my first time like ever moving away from home,
Yeah.
moving out of my parents' house. So it kind of hit me pretty head on.
Yeah.
But it was a really good experience moving out there. Grateful that I did.
Yeah.
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 I
I
feel
mean,
like it was a difficult transition moving to
yeah.
Nashville.
It's always difficult moving out, but when you move into somewhere that's so far away from your sort of comfort zone and your obviously your family and stuff, it's a big thing, but it
Yeah.
helps. I guess it helps to help yourself grow, makes you stronger, I suppose.
Yep.
And I don't think
Yeah,
LA's got
for sure.
anything
And
on.
you just learn like a lot about yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry. What
it's all
would
right.
you say?
I was just saying that Los Angeles has got nothing on places like Nashville when it comes to music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you did the right thing.
there's just like such a strong community.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do
Yeah,
you
there's
recall?
it's cool in Nashville. There's a lot going on all the time.
Yeah. It looks really busy. I would love to go there. We've been to New Orleans and that was fantastic. I love the fact that you can go down to a bar or a cafe and there's
Ah,
just live jazz music and you can have a beignet and a coffee and
yeah.
just see someone performing live. It's amazing.
Yeah. What is a beignet?
It's a ah. It's a kind of like a donut. It's a speciality from New Orleans. That's the best way I can
Okay.
describe it. They're
That's cool.
completely
Huh.
delicious.
Huh.
Um,
I'll have to
I've
try
only
one.
eaten one. Can you recall the first time you experienced live music? Like, who did you go to see? Where was the venue and stuff?
Yeah, the first time, trying to think. The first time that I went to see music, I think the first concert I ever went to was like Rusted Roots. I can't really remember when I was young what concerts I was going to.
Yeah.
It was kind of like wherever my family was maybe going. But I remember going to like outdoor amphitheaters to see the Lumineers.
Cool.
Yeah, the Lumineers were really cool. I've seen the Dead and Company a few
Okay.
times. I've seen, trying to think, lots of Brandy Carlisle. She's another cool one I've gotten to see. So yeah, I can't pinpoint exactly like I feel like there's been so many
Yeah.
concerts that I've gone to, but
Too
those are
many to
some
remember.
that have been really awesome.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
Paul McCartney live too, and that was one of the
I'll have you.
coolest shows I've ever been to.
Where was that?
That was in Knoxville, Tennessee,
Okay.
at a huge theater, or what do you call them, stadium.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was an insane show.
Yeah. I've never seen
He
Paul
played for
McCartney.
3 hours straight.
Wow. And that's quite good
Oh,
going because
really?
yeah, that's quite good going because he's about 150 years old. So that's quite good going.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most incredible shows.
Yeah, that's good. He seems like he's got a lot of energy for, given the fact he's so old.
Yeah,
It must be all that money.
definitely.
So you remember the first live performance that you ever did yourself?
Yeah. The first performance I ever did was the open mic that my mom signed
Oh
me
yeah,
up
yeah,
for.
yeah. I forgot.
It went well. I remember I was like so nervous to do that because I was so
Mhm.
shy. But as soon as I did 3 songs, I think, for the open mic. And as soon as I got off the stage, I was like, oh my gosh, like I loved the feeling
Yeah,
of like performing and just getting to sing for people.
yeah,
And I remember it had such a great reaction with like the crowd that was in the restaurant at the open mic. And I was so inspired from that moment that I started going to that open mic every week. I would attend it. And that's kind of where yeah, it's kind of where I became. I feel like those years were the years that I really was able to like build my musicianship and collaborate with so many different musicians in the local area and just like have fun and really like hone my craft. I feel like
yeah.
those years were really important to everything today.
So that time was kind of like a formative time for you in your early musical career.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was monumental and pretty much like what inspired me to start the journey of music.
So how did you feel going on stage for the first time? Were you nervous?
Yeah, I would say I was a little nervous
Yeah,
just cuz I never have really been at that time. I never would like open up or share any songs, not even to my family. I remember the first time that I sang for my family because my family like knew that I could sing, but like I was so shy and I didn't want to share it with anybody. I like put my back to my whole family and sang to the wall. So I remember that moment too. Yeah, I feel like there were definitely some nerves that I had to overcome, but all it was all good experiences.
looking back, what would you say is the best performance that you've ever done?
The best performance I've ever done. I feel like the best performance I've done is probably one that was in 2023 for a festival called the Let's Go Festival. That was a lot of fun. I feel like I got to leave it on the stage, and I had an upright bass player, Ray Bone, join me for the show, which he usually joins me on stage. Yeah, but that was just overall an incredible experience. I feel like we played really well and, put our hearts out there and just
Yeah.
did our best.
So you
So,
left it all out on the stage.
yeah, yep.
Was there any particular moments from that performance that stood out to you?
Particularly, I remember everybody had tour buses and I did not. I had
That's
a
not
little
fair.
tiny car that I was traveling in, but maybe one day.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it was cool. It was a festival, so I was sharing the bill with Billy Currington, Lanco, Chase Bryant, Lindsay L. And then I think like the next day was like Leonard Skinnard and the Goo Goo Dolls. So
ooh,
it was
wow.
crazy.
Yeah,
Everybody had like their tour buses, and I rolled up in like a little Kia car. But it was a really awesome experience. And yeah, it was cool getting to just hear the music. I went
yeah.
into the crowd of the festival, and they had like huge beach balls flying all over, and it was cool.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Is there a particular venue that stands out as a favorite place for you to perform?
Yeah. A place called the Hamilton Live
Okay.
in Washington, D.C. I feel like that it's a really cool spot because it's like a listening room.
Yeah.
And I feel like listening rooms are like my favorite place to perform. So they had like a huge stage that was almost like the half of a moon. Yeah, it was like this big circular stage. And then they had like all these tables and chairs in the audience. But it was
Yeah.
like very intimate, and the lighting was really beautiful and cool. I feel like that was one of the coolest spots I've gotten to play. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Have to check it out one day. So you performed with the Marshall Tucker Band, Jake Shimabukuro, if I pronounced that correctly,
Yep.
Robert Cray, among others. How was
Yeah.
it sharing a stage with such great artists?
It's it's been really incredible. I'm really grateful that I've gotten that opportunity. Marshall Tucker Band, they brought me out on stage with them to sing Can't You See? So that was a really cool moment that I got to do that with them. I feel like each of these shows were unique in their own way. Jake Shimabukuro, he's a phenomenal ukulele player, and his passion and like energy on stage is just like contagious, and he's such like a kind-hearted person. He's from Hawaii.
Okay.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Just back on stage and backstage, they just are so welcoming, and I feel like that's such an important thing, when it comes to music, is not everyone can be like that. So it's really nice when you get to connect with artists and people that are like super genuine and just happy that you're there.
Yeah.
You're in the
Yeah.
building.
And they can help young up and coming artists such as yourself. They
Yeah,
can help you along the road.
definitely.
Right. Another random question.
Okay.
So, if you could save 5 albums by other artists from a burning building, which 5 are you going for?
Well, the first one would probably be Norah Jones's Feels Like Home record. I'm really bad with album names. I can't remember all the titles all the time, but I would say, what is it called? Fire by Mandolin Orange, who is now Watch House.
Okay.
I'd save that record. I would save Bob Dylan, his albums. Can't.
Okay.
I know his songs, but I can't.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with the album of them.
Just say best of Bob Dylan. That'll do.
Yeah. His greatest hits album. Yeah. Bob Dylan, Norah Jones, Mandolin Orange. Trying to think. I need 2 more. Who else do I have? There's a Bill Frisell album that I really love.
Okay.
Incredible guitarist. That's 4. So,
We can just leave the 5th one there.
all right.
We can just remember it another day. So, which is your favorite of your songs to play live?
My favorite to play live would be, well, of my own songs, it is probably my song Hold Me If I Stay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the one we're going to hear later.
Yeah, I feel like the way that I perform it is a little bit different from the way that it was recorded. When I perform it live and my bassist is with me, there's just like this really cool, it's like a very personal song. And pretty much like the message behind that song is, I wrote that after a few months of moving to Nashville.
Yeah.
And it was just like a little tricky. There was a lot of transitions in my life at that time.
Yeah.
So I feel like music in general is a little challenging sometimes. Like the road isn't easy, And I wrote this song in hopes that it will continue to inspire myself and others to keep going on the journey.
Yeah.
So I relay that in the live performance, and I feel like it's the presentation and performance of that song does it justice. The message of like keep going on what you believe in and what you're passionate about.
Yeah. So when you play it on stage, is it a little bit more stripped back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my upright bassist does a lot of like bow work,
Yeah.
like the second chorus or the second like verse and chorus and everything. And I feel like what he does, which you do not hear on the record, you only hear it live at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just a really interesting and intimate performance of the song. So I feel like it's one of my favorites to play.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What are your earliest memories of recording?
My earliest memory of recording was meeting people in my local hometown, and they had a little studio in their basement. So I convinced them to work with me and let me come record at their studio.
Yeah.
And that song, I did like a little EP that was 2 original songs and 2 cover songs.
Yeah.
That little EP lived for a couple years, like from 2017 to maybe 2019, and then I removed it from streaming platforms just because it didn't represent what I was doing.
Okay.
In terms of like my voice and things like that. I feel like when I recorded at that studio in the basement, I feel like my voice was still very young and I was like figuring out what my sound was.
Yeah.
And then after that experience, I went into another studio and I recorded a single, which is called New York. And yeah, that was a really cool experience. I got to pretty much go into the studio, work with a recording engineer. I did not have that produced fully, but I did have it like mixed and mastered and all of that.
Yeah.
And then from there, I met another producer, Dave Klaus, who he worked with, I would say, like my first like real professional recording experience. That was 2019 when I recorded 3 songs with him.
Okay.
And we went into a really cool studio that was an old church,
Oh,
and
cool.
spent the weekend there and just knocked out the 3 songs in a live room. So everybody like played together and recorded that way.
That must be amazing to do it in an old church with
Yeah.
the acoustics for a start must be
Yeah.
incredible.
It was very cool. The stain, like there was so much stained glass and it was just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a track of yours that carries a deep personal meaning for you?
Yes. Beauty in a Rose. This song was inspired by my grandmother. Her name was Rosemary.
Okay.
And that's where kind of like Beauty in a Rose came from, because I feel like so many, there's this cycle of life that we all experience in one way or another. And I feel like when my grandmother passed away, it was a little difficult to like process all of that grief and all of that. So
Yeah.
over time, I sat down and wrote this song like in one blip of a moment. And yeah, it kind of just came pouring out of me.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a song that helps me, and I feel like others feel comfort and find comfort in the little things in life that, carry on someone's legacy and remind you that they're with you in each day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of helps people sort of resonate with it themselves, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So seeing as festival season is now in full swing,
Yeah.
which is your favorite to perform?
Like which festival
Yeah.
or um of the festivals that I've done, which there's a handful of them.
Mm.
Uh, I would say the Let's Go Music Festival and the May Day Music Festival were 2 that were really fun, that I'm grateful that I got to play.
Where are they based?
They're based in the US. One was in New York and one was in Maryland. So, yeah.
Can you think of a piece of music that has had a major impact on you throughout your life from when you were young that still carries something for you now?
Yeah, I would say Trevor Hall.
Okay.
He's got a song called Lime Tree, and I feel like he's been a staple artist that all my life, like, he's just been somebody that I always put on when, like, I want to clear my head or relax, and
Yeah.
I feel like his music really does that. I've gotten to see him a few times, and he's just his aura about, like, what he does and his music and everything is really just peaceful, and
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like when I hear his music, it brings me back to the first time that I got to hear his songs.
Yeah. There's many artists that do that to people, isn't there, really?
Yeah.
Is there a particular moment from a live show that stands out to you that might be a crowd reaction, a moment of magic that's happened? Anything?
Yeah. I feel like there's been a wide range of magical moments that have happened. Although I feel like my favorite thing is after the show getting to meet some of the fans that come up
Yeah.
and just getting to connect with them. And there was one person in particular that like felt really inspired from what I was doing and just like had so many questions and all of this stuff. And I was super open, like encouraging them to like keep going and just get themselves out there and do what they can to like make their music, and giving them like little bits and pieces of advice that they
Yeah.
were looking for. So I feel like moments like that are really magical when I can inspire someone else to, pursue their own journey or in music, whatever it is. I feel like those are really incredible moments. Yeah.
I guess that's really cool that you get to meet people that you've inspired. That must be pretty incredible. And you never know, maybe later along, further down the line, you might be able to play along with them on
Yep.
stage.
Definitely.
So when you play live, you were mentioned you had a bass player. Is
Yes.
it, do you have a bass, not just a bass player, do you have a full band sometimes or?
Yeah, I perform as a trio
Okay.
mainly. So I have a percussionist who joins me often. He does like incredible world percussion sounds, and
Interesting.
I pair that with an upright bass, and then I play acoustic and electric guitar. So I pretty much stick to that format in terms of like a band. When
Yeah.
I'm touring, depending on the show, like I pretty much just bring my bass player with me. But yeah.
Cool. Do you want to give them a little shout out?
Yeah, it is Ray Bone. He is an incredible upright bass player. He's actually a doctor in music, has his doctorate.
He knows his stuff then.
He does. Yeah, Dr. Bone. No pun intended. Yeah, he's incredible. And I've been playing with him for 6 or 7 years now. So it's been a while that we've been playing together.
Mm.
And then my friend Jimmy Lopez does percussion.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, two monumental musicians. They're both beyond passionate about what they do and very talented. And I'm grateful
Yeah.
to get to play with them.
Great. It's always good to have people that have got your back when you're playing on stage and when you've got two amazing musicians like that. One of whom is a doctor of music.
Yeah,
So
I
that's all
know.
you need.
It's funny, actually, to give you like a little backstory of how we connected. My background in music is very unique because
Yeah.
like I don't have any theory training. I have like a very basic knowledge of music theory, but I know my ear can just like hear things and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking for." So I that's my background as a musician. And then
Mm.
the first time that I called my friend Ray, who plays the bass, I asked him like, "Would you consider playing with me? Like, I've never played with anybody before, for like my own show, but I'm
Mhm.
looking to have like a bass player, blah blah blah." And he comes from like an extremely musical, like music theory based background,
Okay.
obviously being a doctor and everything in music. And he plays in orchestras, like he has like a very wide range of classical music and knowledge when it comes to theory. So like our first rehearsal was funny because here I am, I just like sent him all my songs and I'm like, yeah, like this is what I'm playing. I don't know what it is, but I hope you can figure it out. So it was just it was unique. We had very opposite backgrounds musically.
Yeah.
But over the years, like we've benefited, on both sides when it comes to like letting go a little bit, and also for me, like getting a little more confident in my theory and like how to
Yeah.
translate what I'm playing to players and things like that.
Being more comfortable within your own sort of musicianship. Yeah. I mean, that's a massive help, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you remember what the first song or album that you really connected with was? Probably Norah Jones again.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. her her Feels Like Home album is like my favorite.
Yeah.
And there's a particular song, there's two songs, I guess, on that album, but the one song that I really connect with and it makes me kind of like sad, but
Yeah.
love like listening to the sad song of it is called Carnival Town.
Okay.
And it just has like these chords in the progression and everything that like they strike something in me that like makes me feel so deeply and like sad. But like I love it at the same time.
Is that because it reminds you of home or something? Or
Yeah, I think so. I think it like reminds me of home and just like sometimes pursuing music can feel like a little lonely in some
yeah.
aspects. And I feel like that song, Carnival Town, reflects that a little bit.
Yeah. Are there any other bands or artists, other than the ones we've mentioned previously, that you've enjoyed playing with, seeing live on the New Jersey and Nashville
Yeah.
scenes?
There's so many. There's so many incredible musicians and artists that like are out in the world all over.
Yeah.
Locally in my hometown, I'm really grateful to have there's such an incredible local support here for music.
Yeah.
And there's a handful of incredible artists, musicians, off the top of my head, Jimmy Brogan. He was with me from the beginning, like, teaching me songs and giving me opportunities to play. Rob Connolly is a phenomenal songwriter. And then in Nashville, there's so much music.
Yeah, completely.
I feel like though it's really nice to be able to have so many friends who also are extremely talented. Alicia Whitty, she's incredible. She is local to Nashville. Gabe Dixon, he's a Nashville friend of mine. Trying to think. Yeah, there's so many, but it's really great when you can find an incredible community of musicians to, immerse yourself with.
Yeah, it's incredible when you got such a collaborative atmosphere.
Yeah.
I guess when you're in Nashville, there's music on every corner, and
Yeah.
I guess there's loads of places you can do it, and loads of people that will help out and things like that. And
Yeah.
I
How
kind of wish
if you don't mind me asking, like, how is London with me? Like, I've never been, so
London's pretty good. There's loads of places to play here. Some people are saying it can be quite a bit snobby because
okay,
London being London, some people look down on other people when they're starting out.
okay,
On the sort of local scene where I'm from, we have a like a local hip hop kind of scene called grime music, which is quite up and coming. But it has been for a while. Yeah, there's places you can go and play. There's open mic gigs. I've done quite a few, but
it's awesome.
there's loads of great venues. There's a place called the Union Chapel, which is a converted church.
Wow,
It's still an active church as well, but hosts concerts in there. I think you'd love it there. Go and play.
that would be awesome. I'll have to write it down.
There's a place called the Dublin Castle, which is one of the most historic sort of musical pubs in the whole of London. Amy Winehouse has played there. I think the Rolling Stones, Madness, everyone. The Water Rats. What's the other one? The Green Note, which holds about 30 people. So
Really?
it's amazing for, like intimate gigs and so
Yeah,
many places, so many
that's
places. But
cool.
yeah, it can be a bit snobby, but
Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
I know. I would love to venture out that way someday.
Yeah, there's also a place in South London called Sutton. There's a venue called the Sound Lounge, which is fantastic.
Okay.
So definitely check that out. If when you come over, check it out. It's a fantastic place, and
That's awesome.
it has a vinyl record store right next to the stage.
Really? That's cool.
It's really cool. All
Wow.
right. So, what does the future hold for you, both in the short term and the long term?
Yeah, for over the next couple weeks, I have some live shows that I'll be doing. I'm doing 2 headlining shows, and I just actually did 2 of the shows of the tour this past weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, I played at the Cannery Hall in Nashville and the Keswick Theater in Philadelphia with Los Lonely Boys.
Okay.
So I have some shows coming up, and that's kind of what I'm doing over the next couple weeks. I'm working on a new record.
Very cool.
Yeah, I feel like I've finally met really incredible people to
Yeah.
work with on the recording process, and I'm very grateful for that. So I'm excited for this next project, and I'm hoping to be able to raise some funds for the record. Yeah, and start recording in August, and then I feel like have an album available for 2026.
Well, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Have you got any album titles ready to go, or you're keeping it secret?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I do have songs ready to
Okay.
go. In terms of like packaging them all together and like putting a bow on it with the album title, I
Mhm.
haven't really decided yet,
Okay.
but it's a work in progress right now. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the combination of like short and long-term goal right now is getting, new music and creating a full body of work.
Yeah. Get it finished, and then you can come up with a
Yeah.
amazing title. Right, and that brings us to the end of the interview. Have you enjoyed it?
Cool. Absolutely. Yeah, this has
Amazing.
been phenomenal. Thank you for having me.
That's all right. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to do it. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
obviously quite early over there. And thank you for putting up with the technical issues we've had.
Yeah,
It's quite common for this
good.
thing. But, so have you got any socials, a website people can reach you on? Do you want to tell people about?
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow me at Sahara Moon Music on social media, and I have music available on Spotify, Apple Music, and all the other streaming platforms. So definitely give me a follow there for when I do
Yeah.
have releases coming. And my website is saharamoonmusic.com. So
Brilliant. So people go and follow Sahara on those socials and give the website a visit. Stream everything on Sahara's Spotify. You will not be disappointed.
thank you.
It's okay. And please like, share, follow, subscribe to the Sound Like Us podcast on Instagram and YouTube. And finally, to play us out, it is Sahara Moon with Hold Me If I Stay. Sahara, it's been an absolute pleasure. I want to say a massive, massive thank you for taking time to do this interview. It's
Thank you,
been
Martin.
fantastic.
Thank
That's
you
no
so
problem
much.
at all. And whenever you come over here to London, let us know when you're playing. I'll get everyone to come out and see you.
Awesome. Yeah, now that we've connected, I may have to get on the book soon. Oh,
Yeah, definitely. And I
yeah.
know people that work at the Sound Lounge, so
Okay.
I can hopefully try and get you a gig there. And Sahara, thank you very much and have a great rest of the
Martin.
day.
You too.
Take care.
Bye.
All my life I have dreamed of someone like you. Now here you are, knocking at the door, begging me to let you in. Will I ever be enough? Will I cure the wound in your heart? This